Welcome to the Caribbean Sea Fan Festival online in celebration of UN World Oceans Day, June 8, 2017, where we explore the life and times of the Caribbean Sea and hear stories from a few of the people working to ensure the sustainable health and wealth of the sea. Stay tuned for information, education, and inspirational stories brought to you by the Sustainable Caribbean Sea Initiative, curated by Dr. Claire Nelson. Life needs the Caribbean Sea.
Greetings and welcome to the Bahamas! Yay! Well, actually, no, I'm still in Haiti. But I'll be visiting the Bahamas where I'll be speaking to KRISTAL Ambrose. My God, what a phenomenal woman. She is the founder of the Barbados Plastic Movement, which she decided to do having taken a trip to the Pacific to explore the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. She came back home and started this movement to get people in her island nation of the Bahamas understanding why it's so important to not dump things in the sea. So we are going to have a fantastic conversation with KRISTAL Ambrose, or Crystal Ocean as she's also known, the founder of the Bahamas Plastic Movement. Stay tuned. Greetings and welcome to another segment of the Caribbean Sea Fan Festival. And now we'll be visiting with Deshawn Griffith, who is a young lawyer in training. Yes, a maritime lawyer. Greetings and welcome to another segment of the Caribbean Sea Fan Festival in celebration of UN World Oceans Day, June 8th, 2017. On this segment, I'm visiting the Bahamas. I'm not sure exactly what island in the Bahamas, but I do know that I'll be visiting with KRISTAL Ambrose, who is the founder of the Bahamas Plastic Movement. Now, that's a very interesting name. When I hear the word Bahamas Plastic Movement, I'm thinking...
Thank you for joining us for this segment of the Caribbean Sea Fan Festival Online 2017. The festival is a virtual cruise around the Caribbean to hear stories about the life and times of the Caribbean Sea from people who love and care for the sea. The Caribbean Sea Fan Festival Online is a production of the Institute of Caribbean Studies in Washington, D.C. For more information, visit www.thecaribbeansea.org. Share this story and see more. Remember, life needs the Caribbean Sea.
To change the paradigm around how we think about the sea. Now, how did you get into starting the Bahamas Plastic Movement, and what exactly is it?
So you were kind of right. We can sort of energy is a fluid movement to remove plastic from our seas and also break plastic dependency. So the Bahamas Plastic Movement is a non-profit organization dedicated towards raising awareness and finding solutions to plastic pollution in the Bahamas and also globally. And a main way that we do that is by incorporating youth. So we use youth activism and youth empowerment to help students understand that their voices are important and they have what it takes to make a difference. But I kind of got into the trash stuff. I call myself the self-proclaimed trash lady. 5 years ago, I went on an expedition sailing from the Marshall Islands all the way to Japan. So I lived on a sailboat for 20 days studying the Western Garbage Patch. And it wasn't until seeing the problem firsthand that I was like, humans are so nasty. But then I realized that I was a human as well. And every single piece of plastic that I discovered.
Part of the nasty crew. So,
exactly.
So, did you take any footage of your trip to the Marshall Islands?
I did. I had a blog. So I have a blog, BahamasPlasticMovement.blogspot.com. So you can see that information there.
Well, I'd love for us to share that with our audience as part of, when we're done with this conversation, even like a 2-minute clip of you out there from all the way from Bahamas, all the way to the Marshall Islands, which are where exactly?
It's in the South Pacific, so it took me like 3 days to fly.
Okay, so the Marshall Islands in the South Pacific. We're having a little bit of challenge, as you will see, audience, because I am speaking to KRISTAL, who is now in what island exactly?
So I'm on Nassau. I'm in Nassau, New Providence. But all of my work, most of my work is based on the island of Eleuthera. However, our work spans across the Bahamas, but it's spread on Eleuthera Island.
Okay, so we're having some challenges with the sound quality, but let's try and see how best we can do it because you're coming in and out, but I really don't want to miss the opportunity of talking to you. So you say most of your work is in Eleuthera. So about how many young people are engaged in this movement on Eleuthera alone?
So on Eleuthera Island, in the summer is when we have our main program, and we engage about 30 to 35 students in a program called the Plastic Pollution Education and Ocean Conservation Summer Camp. And it's a tuition-free program where students from all across South Eleuthera in particular come together for a 5-day intensive program where they go on this holistic journey from the problem with plastic to solutions to this environmental crisis. So the students are doing scientific research, youth activism, art, community outreach, community action projects, and a lot of communication. And they incorporate Bahamian culture to raise awareness of this issue in their own unique way.
Now, what is your main? So are you at college now or are you finished?
I just graduated December of 2016, but I'm getting ready to go to grad school this fall. So I just graduated.
You started this before you went to college?
I did it while I was in school. So I started, yeah.
Oh my God, you are a phenomenal woman.
Oh, thank you.
You were in high school?
No, while I was in college.
While you were in college?
In high school, yeah.
This organization is 2 years old, 3 years old. How old is it?
About 3.5.
Now, how have you been able to spread your message to other islands? Because you have about, what, 7 to 8 inhabited islands, right, in the Bahamas? How many do you have?
No, it's about 29, somewhere around there.
Inhabited islands?
Yeah, there are over 700 islands and keys.
I know that, but
yeah.
Do you really have people, or is it just the pigs that are swimming? They're not
no.
Swimming pigs and the crab.
No. There are people. Oh, inhabited with people, yeah, like 30. But there are animals.
Well, we're not talking about islands with 30 people, because hopefully they're not making that much waste. But even so, even islands with 30 people do have a challenge of waste. So tell me, how are you spreading your message to other islands where there are young people in high school who are ripe for this message?
Partnerships. And for me, being a young organization, you're looking at it, it's just me. And the only way that I can make things work is by partnering with other like-minded organizations, and even organizations that are not exactly in the same path, but using the tools that we both have and connecting with them to expand our reach to these other islands.
Well, how many islands do you have going as well? So besides Eleuthera, is there anybody that's doing a camp in the summertime?
Yeah, so there are tons of camps that happens around the Bahamas, and they all have a different focus. But the Plastic Pollution Education and Ocean Conservation Camp is the first of its kind and the only one within the country that focuses solely on the issue of plastic pollution. So far we've managed to reach about 5 islands in total now, and this year we'll hit 4 islands. Spreading this message.
So now that you have, let's say, maybe 2 or 3 years under your belt, and I guess I should come back and say, does the Bahamas have a policy about the recycling or reuse of plastic, or is that part of what you're also trying to do?
So there's not one that's in place right now, so it's part of what we're trying to do. So the pillars that we operate under with Bahamas Plastic Movement, it's research, education, citizen science, and policy change. So combining all like voices and doing the research and getting citizens involved. So a big thing that we do is bridge the gap between community and science so that community members understand, so that students understand the implications of our lifestyles and managing basically how waste is controlled in the country, because there aren't any strategic waste management plans in the country. It's all open pit landfills. There's no recycling. There's small recycling facilities, but they can't handle the capacity of waste that's produced within the entire country. And geographically, how the Bahamas is spread out, it's really hard to control the waste. So you're shipping a lot of waste in between islands and then just burning it.
It sounds like a nightmare. So really,
it is.
strategic vision for the future, because one of the reasons why I'm having this conversation with people like yourself, because we're really interested in how we shape the future of the Caribbean region, how we shape the future of waste management in a way that allows us to have a sustainable living sea. As you know, Sustainable Development Goal is the 14 is the ocean's goal, life beneath the sea. And your work certainly will be important because Bahamas is a tourism destination. You have also large bone fishing as a tourism product. Of course, you're also using a lot of lobsters and conch as your product and fishing. So in terms of the economy of the sea, having plastic floating and possibly having a garbage patch in the Bahamas would be a disaster. So in terms of your work then, and you say you plan to do graduate school, what will you be doing at graduate school to enhance this work, or are you going in a completely different direction for graduate school?
So my graduate degree is going to be in marine management, and that's going to be one thing I'm interested in looking at is how do you manage this issue, because the big problem that we find, and another thing going back to, why are locals always polluting the beaches? Oftentimes a lot of that waste is not from the land, from the land. It washes in from another source. So how can we work with different countries and different zones and manage waste that's coming in, and also create this closed loop system where we give the plastic that washes in another life? So changing that.
KRISTAL, as I hear you, I'm thinking about the 101 ways in which you can clone yourself, so you can be in every high school in the Caribbean. And I really want to say, as we contemplate moving from just having these kind of exchanges without any budget. I mean, you are like me in the sense that, you just get up and say, I'm going to do this.
Exactly.
So I'm doing this conversation. This is the fourth year of doing this conversation, because I am not convinced that there are enough people like you who really are going to do what it takes to ensure that in 13 years, we still have a living sea. And so as I hear you, I'm really concerned about finding ways to which to more rapidly, like, deploy your summer program throughout schools in the region. Have you had an opportunity to perhaps have your work presented to any of the other, let's say, ministries of education or any other NGOs around the region that could basically take your curriculum, train some other young people to run it? I mean, what would it take to do something like that?
It wouldn't take much, and I would love to see this multiply across the Caribbean, right? Because I feel like we all have that same issues when it comes to waste management, being a small island, developing nation or developing state that's tourism based, and we have so many people coming into the land, but not a proper strategic plan for the waste management. But I would love to be a part of a conference or establish a conversation with other educators, with other conservationists to replicate our program on other islands.
So one of the things that I'd like to probably see come out of this conversation, because it'd be really great if beyond talking about this once a year, I can actually see something happen, so I can myself feel, more excitement about continuing, because this idea of having this online idea festival is about finding ideas worth spreading, as Ted would say, finding ideas and finding people like yourself that are doing extraordinary things, ordinary people doing extraordinary things, and finding ways to multiply your effect. In this case, it won't be a butterfly effect, it will be a ripple effect.
Right.
And so have you had any experience in probably doing curriculum development, so you can actually say, okay, here's how I would teach somebody to be me, or to learn what I know, so they could go out and do a variation on this? Because if we can have, the largest, let's say 10 islands in the Bahamas doing this every summer, we can have at least one camp reaching 35 people, say next year, in another 4 islands in Jamaica. We have a lot of garbage on the beach in Jamaica. I mean, a lot. If we can have it, this, I think, would be a very substantive contribution that you'll be making. What kind of help would you want to see from your government, from other NGOs? Here's an opportunity to make a plea for support, because I'm going to definitely push this out. How can we get you help so you can develop a curriculum and you become a trainer to coach other young people like yourself in college to run these camps at the universities and at the high school so much they can?
That's a really great question. And in terms of curriculum, a part of my first undergraduate degree was education. So I managed to draft a curriculum about these different topics within the plastic pollution realm that teachers can just pick up and teach their students. But what I need, like you say, it's hard to clone me, but in terms of support, funding is always a big one, but also just investing time and resources and space to make these things happen.
But can we not make sure that the plastic bottle companies, the water companies, provide some support? How can we form a coalition to make sure that the water companies in Bahamas, those who are importing water in plastic bottles, those people who are importing soap in plastic bottles, those people who are importing, lotions and potions and notions in plastic bottles, are a part of your support system? How have you had any support from the private sector, and what will it take to get that support?
That's a really good question, and one I'm glad you brought that up, because main industry businesses, the hotel industry is a big contributor of single-use plastic waste that's used within the country. And again, these policies on what can come into the country in terms of the styrofoam, the plastic bags, but also sometimes businesses who want to go and take a more eco-friendly alternative, it costs twice as much to bring in these products into the country. So getting tax breaks on things like that, and also tax breaks for eco-friendly restaurants that want to be the model for the rest of the Bahamas. So in terms of the private sector, getting them on board and getting them to create a model that other restaurants can adapt. And the same with the government, tax breaks and policy, law, and like that vote. We could do as much as we want to clean up the beaches, but we have to stop at the source, right? Because if we're constantly contributing to the waste stream, there's no way it's going to get better. So we need some policy.
Yeah, because a lot of people are talking about, with the coastal cleanup. Okay, fine, but is there been a decrease in the coastal cleanup in the last 5 years? If there's no decrease in the amount of waste in the coastal cleanup, it means that we really are not making a dent in the problem.
Exactly.
So your solution in terms of being able to, first of all, engage more young people has to be rapidly, you already prototyping, has to be rapidly multiplied. So I'd like you, as we wrap up, to sort of give a call out that to say to whomever will be listening, to say what it is you need to get from your government, from your private sector, from regional agencies, to multiply your efforts, to take what you're doing, to train a core of crystals, to create not just a Bahamas plastic movement, but maybe we'll call it the Caribbean, anti-plastic or the Caribbean clean-up plastic movement or something, to really move it from being, let's say you've done 100 people or so for the last, or 200 people for the last 3 years, so that in the next 3 years we'll have done 1,000 people. How can we, what would you want to say to us to help you make that difference?
I feel like the first thing I would say is self-reflect and realizing that we're all a part of this problem. No one's responsible. We're not going to point the finger at a single individual, but first we need to realize that we're all a part of the problem, but most importantly, a part of the solution. So it's listening, reevaluating the waste that we produce, the things that we use, connecting that to not only our environment, but the health, human health as well, providing resources in schools for students to be a part of scientific research that involves plastic pollution, and helping them to understand that science doesn't have to be this thing that's not tangible. It could be as simple as picking up debris from the beach and quantifying that, to understand how much is out there, to understand, and helping use that information to understand how you can make a difference in that arena. Policy, restructuring the waste management in terms of the landfills. There has to be a better way, whether that's waste to energy, whether that's recycling, and making sure that we're responsible in terms of where our waste goes, because oftentimes I feel like we just transfer it to other locations. Let's just send it to China and it's their problem. We don't have to deal with it. But creating strategies on land.
Reuse, reduce, reuse, regenerate. That's
exactly.
So what age group are you normally working with?
We work with students from elementary school to high school.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crystal Ambrose, you have certainly made my day.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
excited to hear about the work you're doing. I am excited to hear about the Bahamas plastic movement and looking forward to hearing more great things to come and possibly, seeing what we can do to get the word about your work and ensuring that you get more support. Before we wrap up, tell me, why does your life need the Caribbean Sea? And you have to start off by saying, my life needs the Caribbean Sea because.
My life needs the Caribbean Sea because I would not exist if it didn't exist. It literally is my life. But just the power and the beauty of the Caribbean Sea, of the ocean in general, that we can harness, the ability to connect with it. But also, I need the Caribbean Sea because there's this generation of youth that's coming up behind me, and I've gotten to experience the wonder and the beauty of that beautiful sea, and I just want those students to see it as well. So it's very important to preserve it today, because I got a whole team of kids coming up, and they have to experience that as well. And it's important to me because it's important for the next generation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have a lot that we can learn from Crystal Ambrose, who is the founder of the Bahamas Plastic Movement. She is a rising senior from a university and is planning to enter graduate school to study marine management in the coming year, and we look forward to hearing more from her. So
thank you so much.
Sailing on calm waters.
Yes, thank you so much. And if you want to learn more about our organization, check us out. We're on social media, bahamasplasticmovement.org. And if you want to learn more about our summer camp program, we have a documentary on YouTube, so check out our channel. But thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Greetings and welcome to another segment of the Caribbean Sea Fan Festival. And I hope you're getting a shot of the sea behind me, where I'm now in the island of Haiti. Now, I've been visiting with Deshawn Griffith, who is a leader in the Barbados chapter of the Caribbean Youth Environment Network. And Deshawn is studying to be a maritime lawyer. You can imagine, with 36 nations owning the Caribbean Sea, how much legal challenges there are mixed up with rights to fishing, rights to shipping, rights to, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, let's hear from Deshawn Griffith, leader in the Barbados chapter of the Caribbean Youth Environment Network. Stay tuned.
I love that sea. I love that beach. Hey, a white sand beach. Delicious fish. Good vibes, man. No problem. That is liberty. Yeah, man, liberty. Life needs the Caribbean Sea. Check out the Caribbean Sea Fan Festival. Online telethon. on June 8th. Yeah, man. UN World Ocean Day. That is June 8th. Log on to the Caribbean.org. Yeah, man. Liberty. Life needs the Caribbean Sea. Yeah, man. Irie. One love.